So good to have you watching this video. Hope you're doing well. Today we are talking on the topic engineering projects and materials. Engineering projects and materials is what we are going to talk on, and we're going to take an inventory on what we really do in engineering and as regards the materials we use. So hope you're still there with me. So we're going to have a good time talking about it, and I know you enjoy those moments. So what are engineering materials? Generally, I'm going to take you into the introduction, talk about some few materials, and talk about the need for test, and we'll be good at it. Okay, now materials in engineering is just simply what we use to do the construction work. So you turn around and look at a site, you see things of this nature, you see the gravels, the sand, and we call it aggregates and chippings if you're not really an engineering inclined person. So you see these things at site. These are what we call the materials in engineering. And today I will be very specific to share some things with you as regards materials. What do we use these materials to do? And we of course the concrete we mix is made up of the sand, the cement, and the granite, mixed in ratio. So these are what we use. So we have reinforcement. Have you ever seen things like this? The rods, and they are all the materials we use. I know you're following me already. I guess you now understand what materials are in engineering. And I just had to do that intro for people that for those of us that are not really into engineering. So, but for us that are engineers, and we are in the process, we are in the project, or we are working in the project, we're going to talk more technically about it. If you're just joining me, you can do well to subscribe to this channel so that we can keep in touch. You can ask your questions. You can also contact me as displayed on the screen so that we can keep relating. Okay, so as I've mentioned earlier, that the materials in engineering include the sand, the cement, the reinforcement, that's what we call rods, and even woods, the marine boards that we use to make form work for our constructions are all woods. Even the roofs, the roof rafters and roof bowlines and all, they are all wood. So these materials are useful in engineering. So how do we go about it? How do we go about the materials? Number one, you think about the quality of the materials, and also you consider storage. So I want to quickly talk about the quality of materials in engineering. Of course, we design for safety. Talk about the serviceability limit state and the ultimate limit state in designs. So we design for safety. So the first thing that comes to an engineer mind is it safe? Can people comfortably stay there and without being trapped into collapse? So those are the things we talk about in engineering. So when we are talking, so we need to talk about the quality of the materials. If you're joining me out there, there are so many fake materials in the market today. So you need to carry out some tests and samples, and do a lot of checks in order to have the quality material. Can I announce to you, if you're a Nigerian, there are so many fake materials. We have some people have their factions, they make some materials, imitations and all. So there's a need for you to actually test the materials and get to know the materials you want to use. Let me still talk about the testing the materials. Now I remember that I told you about I've shown you some materials that we use. One of the ways we test these materials, or one of the tests we can do, is maybe let me lead you to my project, and let's begin to talk based on my project I'm actually working on, and I know you really have a good time listening. Are you still there with me? Okay, so the first test that is needful is for my project. The first one I did was to test the material before I can procure. So this is the first material I tested. These are my reinforcements, and this is what we did. We did a tensile strength test. Okay, we can do a slump test, we can do a concrete strength test, that's cube crushing, we can do tensile strength test for our reinforcement. So I did the tensile strength test of the reinforcement. Why did I do it first? Actually, I wanted to order for the materials for the reinforcement. Is one of the things we're going to talk about, how to order it and all. So I had to do a concrete a tensile strength test, and also I was able to also, in the course of beginning of the project, we started casting concrete, so therefore we need to do a concrete test. Okay, you can see the molds there and the concrete cubes. I'm seizing opportunity of my of a challenge at the site, a seepage problem at the site, a sump I created, I dumped those cubes there. So you see, so I've been able to do the concrete strength test, the crushing of cubes. Just have to take the cubes and get to the lab and crush it and be able to determine the strength of the concrete. Okay, so when you talk about these things, the materials like this, one of the things you need to also consider is the storage of the materials. This a challenge, especially when you have a little space in your site. There's no site store and all, so it might be very difficult. I think I'm having that challenge in the site I'm currently working with. Where do I store materials? So you need to plan as part of the project management. Yes. You need to plan way to store your materials so that you can have. And it's always good to buy those materials in bulk, and that can be just as good as buying it from the factory. So the storage of materials can be there, especially if it's wood. Be careful, because termite is there and all. So, and the storage of the reinforcement, the steel, or even theft. People steal materials at site so much, so one need to be careful about the storage of the materials. Okay, there are a few challenges. Maybe let me just take you through the site and explain some few things. And so at the site I'm working with, what do I have to really show you? Please, I still want you to subscribe. Yeah, you can subscribe as soon earlier. Now, okay, I just procure materials from the factory, directly from the factory. They brought it for me, my reinforcement. So you can contact me in case you need such direct transaction if you're in Nigeria. And okay, so these are all reinforcements. The blocks are there. So these are all materials used on site. Okay, so you do well to subscribe. I have so many things to still talk about and to still keep relating with you, and we still keep learning. So please do well to subscribe to the channel, and you can contact me and let's keep relating. Okay, now there's a part I want to quickly talk with you. The challenges in procurement. There's several challenges in procurement. I started by telling you, there's a challenge of knowing the quality. How do I know the quality? How do I know the right quality? So that's when the test comes in. I remember telling you, do I want to know the quality of maybe the quality of reinforcement I need to buy? We talk about the TMT in terms of the rods reinforcement, the TMT, and the local. No, there are several types in the market. So what you need to do is just to take samples of them and go to the lab where they can do the test for you, able to determine the tensile strength of those materials, and you know the one you're going to procure. Okay, and the cement, yes. Okay, so when we are mixing the concrete, we can take the concrete strength test so that we'll be able to know the quality of the cement. Now, still talking about the challenges of procurement. There's so much fraud in this procurement business. Be very careful. If somebody might supply just 7 tons and say it's maybe let me say can supply 15 tons and say it's 20 tons of granite. So there are several things that is going. So you need to deal wisely while you're trying to procure materials. How do I resolve these issues of fraud and the lies and all in the procurement of materials? Is the next thing I'm talking about. It starts from you. What perception do you have about people? Hope you don't cheat others. So if you don't cheat others, work with the mindset that you have people around you that will know how to cheat. From the onset, declare your stand to them, what you believe in, and then while you're trying to procure those materials, it will help you a great deal. Okay, the next part is that make sure that you watch against going for cheap things. Several people bargain so much, and in the course of the bargaining, they end up people end up settling for so much price, so much less a price that they are not having any room to make profit, and then they just have to cheat them, reduce the materials, and or they can steal some. So avoid going for so much a cheap price like that. Get into a negotiation. I would prefer that you deal with factories directly. If you're doing a big project like the one I'm handling, you can deal with the factory directly, get the contact. It's better, and in case of any challenge, you can make reference to them. Okay, the last part I want to talk about is I also want to talk about the issue of referral. Ensure that I really like it when somebody is referring me to a particular dealer because of tested record of how the person has been working. So these are what I want to open your eyes to in the procurement of materials. We need materials in engineering. We need it, and that's what we use. It is what we use for construction. So the management of it as an engineer is what makes you proficient in engineering. So remember to test materials. I will emphasize, please test materials and go for quality. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a nice day.